But so far, she's pretty good at feeding herself, traveling, raising an equally untamed daughter, replacing bathroom faucets, mangling accents, and talking about herself in the third person. Here she is in the first person, Katie Taylor, with her story, A Universe Returned.
Hi. So, there was this time that I met someone that the first time we met, I felt completely seen, completely heard, just absolutely who I was. And it was as if the universe had been conspiring to put us together. We met the first day at a new job, shook hands, and there was this immediate rapport. And it took a coworker clearing their throat for us to recognize that shaking hands had turned into holding hands. And we were the only ones who weren't uncomfortable, but okay, stepped away because he was not my husband.
Oh.
And yeah. But we continued to be friends and continued just to have someone in this office space that was so bizarre for either of our personalities that there was a connection, and that was nice. And I was starting to remember who I was. I was starting to realize that I had inadvertently lost myself along the last 8 or 10 years with the man that I married, really starting the day that we got married, if not before. We had a very do-it-yourself wedding, and I was the absolute opposite of a bridezilla. In fact, I only had one request, and that was that when we got married under this canopy arch of ancient oaks down in South Austin, Mercury Hall, when it first opened, that we'd be barefoot, because there was something really amazing about starting this new life in bare feet against the ancient roots of the oak trees. And so on our wedding day, I walked up, French pedicure, didn't know they did those, and I looked down and I said, "You have your shoes on." And he said, "Oh, fuck. Is it really that big of a deal?" So I turned to everyone in the wedding and I said, "I'm really glad y'all are here. It ain't a good day for a white wedding, so let's have a party. The drinks are on me." In my head. I guess it's the first thing we have to get over, and I guess it's not really that big of a deal. And I continued. And I did what seemed to be the right thing, what everyone expected to be the right thing, and we got married. And about 4 years later, we're finishing up a Christmas family week vacation in Puerto Rico. And it had been really lovely for me and somewhat miserable for everyone else, because I don't know where it came from, but I was on full snark mode, and I was poking, and I was prodding my in-laws, and was teasing people, and it all culminated with breakfast in San Juan. We'd been staying in Vieques, and there was this one thing that I wanted. It was a pastry. It was filled with ham and covered in powdered sugar, and I'd read about it somewhere. I was like, they have it here. It's like the only place it's made, and this is 2007, and I can't wait. So I sat down. We had the waiter that just took forever, and I was so frustrated. And he finally comes to me and he says, "We don't have any more." I lost my shit. And my husband looked at me and said, "You are taking a pregnancy test." And I said, "It won't work, they're in Spanish." I'm taking a pregnancy test. And so I did. And I peed on the stick, and almost immediately there was a plus sign. And I thought, I wonder if I wash it underwater, if it'll dilute the pregnancy hormone. And then I can go back home and I can pick a ridiculous fight. I can leave his ass and I can raise my baby by myself on the coast of Oregon. But that wouldn't be the right thing. So I said, no, that's stupid, that's pregnancy. You guys are having a baby. You wanted this baby, this is exciting. And so we had the baby. And the things continued, and you're laughing a little loud, maybe, might disturb someone. The shoes, dress, is that really the best idea? Well, I know you really want a dinner party, but the house really isn't where it should be. Continued until we come back to this point, and I'd met this person at work, and we're friends, and some years pass, and I leave the job, and during this time I had decided to stay home with my kiddo, which never occurred to me, but some things happened, decided to do this. And my bravery had started to come back, my voice had started to be heard, and I decided to start trying to hear my voice in my personal life. And I went to my husband, and I'd missed writing. I hadn't been writing, and partly for fear that he would read it, partly for fear that what I would write. And so I went to him and I said, can we turn our guest room into my writing space? Like I need a room of my own. I want that. I think that would be good for me. He said, why do you want to get away from me? There must be something wrong with our marriage. I mean, you're trying to avoid time with me. No, that's not at all what I meant. And I know I want our marriage to survive, and you're right, I'll find another way. It'll be okay. And about 3 months later, the same man who didn't want me to take time away from him said, maybe we should open our marriage. Maybe if we have someone else to talk about things, or we can bring some spice back into it. So maybe we spend too much time together. Yeah, he didn't exactly want like polyamory, that would have been work, but that's what he addressed that he wanted. And how about that friend of yours, your old work husband? Maybe he'd be interested. It's a bad idea. No, I never really liked him. That's a terrible, horrible, bad idea. No. He kept pushing. I said, well, maybe I can get what I wanted. I want therapy. I've wanted therapy for like 8 years. So I went to him and I said, well, if we do therapy, I'll see if he'd like to come over and have dinner. What could go wrong? Therapy, for one. So about 3 sessions in, and 1 or 2 dates with my not husband, we're sitting on the front porch one night drinking whiskey, as we did far too often, and my husband says, this therapy thing, what if we keep doing this? And what if we just keep doing it and we just in 5 years we aren't happy? 3 sessions. I said, therapy's hard. It takes a lot of work. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but I really think we should work at it. He says, yeah, but what if it doesn't work? And I said, well, what's the alternative? He said, maybe we just throw in the towel now. And for once, that really sounded like the right thing. And so we did split up, and I kept dating this person who had meteored into my life and helped me to start to find myself. And in my new life, we had space, and I was writing more, and I was doing improv, and I was sharing things, and this person was just so intense and saw me and heard me and believed in me, and I believed in him, and together we made interesting things happen, and we built events, and it was magical. And I knew that we had always known each other somewhere, somehow. And so about a year afterwards, I said, went to his house and I said, you know, we've known each other for 4 years now, and I think we've been through everything, and you picked me up when I was broken, and you helped me find myself. And can we consider moving in together? And he looked at me and said, wow. He said, your courage is amazing, but my fears are bigger than your courage. And I took his key and I put it on his counter and I walked out. Said, I'll see you tomorrow. Because by that point, we were working together again. Because nothing but complications. Some are good, some are bad. And so for the next 11 nights I cried. I cried myself to sleep and I cried myself awake. And I felt like I'd lost something important. And I was grieving for the loss of the idea of this life of magic with him. And we'd continue to be at work together, but there'd be no more notes left under my keyboard when I came back from meetings, and he wouldn't arrive to work with a full cup of coffee at his desk, and we'd still have meetings together and end each other's sentences and fill in ideas. But yeah, about a month later, he comes, I get a text, or he gets transferred, and then another month, I get a text saying, let's have dinner, and I need to talk to you about something. So I go. I'm excited, because he may have realized what he lost. And he sits me down, and he says, I need you to know this from me before you hear it from anyone else. He'd knocked up his rebound. I said, so, what are you gonna do about that? He said, I'm gonna do the right thing. We're gonna get married. And I said, do you love her? And he said, I'm gonna be a really good dad. I said, yes, you are. So 5 years later, we're at an art event, and I'm working, and I see him striding across the field, and he's got that smile that's only for us. He comes to me, and I say, where's the family? Because there's two, a boy and a girl, and a wife. And he says, they aren't here. And I said, you want to talk later? He said, yes. So we end up talking till about 1:30 in the morning, and all our friends are there, and they slowly all wander away, and no one asks about us, because we're where we need to be. And I said, let's not do the right thing. We go back to his tent, put down my shawl, and we talk until dawn. And I asked him, you know, what were we? And he said, you were everything. You grounded me. You put me in my place with a quip and a look, and I was happy to be there. It's like your 1,000-watt smile just filled my heart. And I said, okay. And dawn came, and we shared a kiss. We tried to. I was smiling too big, because I finally realized that this man had been exactly what I needed. He helped me at this broken point step up and find who I was. And in that, he opened the door, and I stepped through and found that universe that I had lost. So thank you.